my name's Liam Jordan Miller. I've helped some of the biggest podcasts and creators around the world scale their social media content. I've built my own social media to over 400,000 followers across platforms. Played professional football. I've run ultra marathons. Was the youngest person in the UK to run 103 kilometers under 11 hours.
If you could send a message to every athlete considering business, what would it be?
I would say take the risk. Start it whilst you're playing. Understand where your attention is what's going to see the most success. Use everything that you learn from sport, from driving factor, the consistency, the discipline, to the waking up early.
How important do you think it is to learn psychology?
I think it's vital because at the end of the day, if you can catch the viewer's attention emotionally, straight off the bat, they're going to watch the rest of the video. Because you need to understand there's a storyline to a clip as well. Like, for example, with our clips, we may take 5, 10 seconds from within a 1 minute clip.
The audience that don't know you, tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name's Liam Jordan Miller. I've helped some of the biggest podcasts and creators around the world scale their social media content. I've built my own social media to over 400,000 followers across platforms. I've played professional football. I've run ultra marathons. Was the youngest person in the UK to run 103 kilometers under 11 hours.
Nice.
Done multiple high roxes. Yeah, kind of a bit of everything.
Awesome, bro. No, that's super cool. So the first question I have for you is, can you take us back to your early years in football? What did the game kind of teach you, and how does it impact you and how you operate today?
So I think one of the biggest lessons and key takeaways from like playing football for me is that the consistency and the discipline factor. Like, look, I used to get up at like 4 a.m. every day and
Yeah.
train like in the pitch black. I have multiple, like hundreds of videos of me training in the pitch black.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a consistency and discipline factor to, if you stick at something long enough. Like I was doing that from like probably consistently, probably from like the age of 14 up till 18. And I think if you do something long enough, you will see success in it, no matter all the like negative things that you see in your life, and all the setbacks. Like if you really consistently try it, something you will see success in a long enough period of time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, how do you feel like, do you think there is a direct correlation between your entrepreneurship and your football mindset? Do you feel like those years of discipline in the cold weather, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, doing things that you don't feel like doing, how have you taken that into your entrepreneurship?
No, 100%. Like, when I was playing football and like doing fitness, even like I used to train 3 times a day. Like I'd be in
Yeah.
when I was in school, even like when I was doing GCSEs, I'd wake up in the morning, go to the gym before school. I was speaking to a friend about this. I'd go to the gym at 5 a.m. I'd then 5 till like 6:30, 7. I'd shower, go to school, and then after school, I'd go to goals. I would
Nice.
train for like an hour and a half, and then
Yeah.
I would go to my team training, and then like that was the day, and I'd just repeat that. So it was like 3 times a day. So then when it comes to entrepreneurship now, it's like I will do everything within my power, and everything is now on me. And that's why I like it so much as well. Is
Definitely.
like it's a direct impact for the work that I put in. I get a direct output. Whereas with football, sometimes it's, related on the coach, the chairman, the manager, like their opinions. It's very like opinion based sport as well.
Definitely. I mean, do you feel like having that control element of your life and your day, do you prefer that? Do you
Yeah.
think it makes more sense to you to have that kind of lifestyle?
Yeah. That's like I like the freedom. Like
The freedom of
the
it's
freedom
nice. Yeah.
and then the control over what I'm doing. Like I like to have a direct impact in terms of what I'm doing.
Because in many ways, I feel like in in some scenarios, football is kind of like a glorified 9 to 5. You still have to be told when to turn up, to wear the right kit, you know,
Not really many holidays at
not
the end of
very
the
many
day. Don't
holidays.
party. Like, and I just said this to you before the podcast. I've never partied, never smoked, never drunk. Like
Yeah.
I don't go out. Very much like just chill, go to cafes, restaurants. Like that's my thing. But even still with football, like you can't really go out on holidays whenever you want. Like
Mm.
you're bound to a contract. You're bound to be in the club from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m., for example. And that's just like it.
It's just it, yeah. And just back to the mindset stuff, I definitely feel like there is a correlation between the mindset you need when you're playing football to then take it into entrepreneurship.
Mm.
When you are becoming an entrepreneur, you're gonna have trials, you're gonna have tribulations, you're gonna have days where you don't feel like doing it. And I've noticed more than ever now with entrepreneurs, if they come from an athletic background, I instantly know that they have the mindset each day to go from A to B. They know where they need to get to. They have a goal in mind. They know how to get there with their mindset already because they've done it their whole
Mm.
lives. So, another question for you about mindset really. When you do have these trials and tribulations with your entrepreneurship now, how do you overcome those moments? Like what's the framework that you'd use?
I think gratitude is a big thing, and I wouldn't have said this 7 months ago. I'll tell you that right now. Like, I wouldn't have said gratitude was something that I would have said I took it for granted in that aspect. Like being just turned 20 like a few weeks ago,
Yeah.
living in probably one of the nicest apartments in Manchester, being able to have the luxury and freedom to work whenever I want, work from wherever I want. And then that comes like to the forefront of my mind. I had probably one of the biggest setbacks in my business like 2 3 weeks ago.
Mm.
And I the moment I was in that, I was mad. Like I was
Yeah.
fuming for the
Yeah. Yeah.
first like I was fuming for the first kind of 2 hours, and then I realized I sat there and actually sat down and filmed like an unfiltered YouTube video, just me speaking to the camera, and then I was like, what am I mad at? I'm
Mm.
mad at something right now, which I can't necessarily control. Like it's an uncontrollable thing,
Definitely.
but I can control me being grateful for the position I've been able to put myself in over the past 2 years,
Mm.
from like playing football to then now doing entrepreneurship and having it probably one of the most successful lives and being in a 0.01% for my age.
Yeah.
And like I should be grateful for that, not worrying about necessarily something I can't control.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a case of how can you create the dynamic within your brain to soak up enough pressure,
Yeah.
deal with the stress, be emotionally intelligent enough to not let it stray you off your path. And as soon as you can gain that kind of mental clarity, you're able to move forward. I always say it's the Rocky line's the best line. It's not about how hard you can hit,
Mm.
it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. If you're able to soak up the pressure every single day and go, today's going to be difficult, it's never going to be easy every day that I wake up. I have 24 hours to make a series of choices.
Mm.
Do I pick distraction one, distraction two, or do I try and ignore that and just focus on the mission at hand? Um, and I feel like now we live in a generation where we have the most amount of opportunity ever, but we also have the most amount of distractions, right?
Hormozy said it best. He said there was a line he said in one of the videos, or I think it was with Chris Williamson on a podcast, and it was, um, you have to find the happiness in the absence of like any happiness.
Fantastic.
And
Yeah.
it's basically saying like even when there's nothing to be happy about, you have to try and find that happiness, because that is what's going to like push you over the edge, even when you're in something like such a hard time. And this
Yeah.
year has been the worst and best year of my life, so it's been such a like
Roller coaster.
contradiction
Mm.
of emotions. And it's like, how do I keep pushing, knowing like everything bad has happened, but it's also about using that as fuel. And we'll speak about it later. I met someone over the past few days who's gone through some insane things, and
Mm.
that mindset shift of like using pain as your fuel is another complete mindset shift.
Definitely. I think another thing as well, there's an element of, you hear people talk about this all the time, of delusion that you need, because we're unable to see the outcome, right?
Mhm.
So you just have to have so much faith within what you're doing that you know you're on the right path, and you just need to keep on making little steps each day. Now, I want to dive into more about your business as well. So tell everybody exactly what you do, how you do it, how it works, and
Yeah.
just the dynamics around it.
So we help some of the biggest like podcast creators around the world. We take their long form content, put it into short form content. We also do help other creators with just short form strategies, not necessarily if they have long form. So it's just basically about scaling their short form
Mm.
content. I like to call it short form scaling.
Yeah,
So what we'll do is pretty much most of the times increase the content output they're doing. Like most
sure.
creators aren't putting out enough content.
Yeah,
On
distribution's
yeah.
everything, right? Yeah.
And then also understanding like the most important viral parts of their videos and really emphasizing and honing in on that. And look, we've taken some of the biggest podcasts from 150,000 to 1.5 million. I can't say names, but we've done it like time and time again, and we know exactly what works with it now.
Yeah, nice.
And this is only like I've been working on this for the past kind of 12 to 14 months, this sole business, but even like the last 6 months of just solely focusing on it, like not my other business. Like I just sold my sleep business, which I was taking attention away from, and
Yeah,
just focusing on it from the sole 7 months alone of just this is like I've seen the most amount of growth I ever have,
that's
which is
fantastic,
yeah.
bro. It's really cool. I think it's definitely a world that I see now with content. I mean, I feel like the old days of like putting up a billboard, spending 17 grand a month on this billboard. Why aren't you spending that money on content, right?
Mm,
It makes no sense to me. That's the distribution. And I think a lot of these people that are popping up on the internet and you see them every day, that's very intentional. And I think there's two ways you can go about it. You can either decide, right, I want to play a part in this media algorithm and do like the Mr. Beast kind of style and get really good at YouTube. Or you can literally just attack content with force and go, right, I just need somebody who understands the psychology of getting the right clip to go viral,
mm.
which is yourself. And then from there, I can just act on force and get it out to people. And you see people do like clipping army and stuff like that. For somebody first starting out in this, what are like the key fundamentals that they'd need to understand to start this business?
I think it's good you mentioned like clipping army and things like that, like WAP, for example, like WAP
Yeah.
clipping. It's good and I understand it, but at the same time, I made a YouTube video on it the other day,
Oh, okay, nice.
and I
Fill
was,
me in.
yeah, I'm like very much against it in that sense.
Okay.
For podcasts, creators is a bit different, but for podcasts specifically, it's like you're putting your content out there, for example, with clipping. And I think clipping is one of the best things that you can ever do.
Mm,
But having an in-house team that does it and you control like the reputation and the branding and the tone of voice and what goes out is like a key way to do it. But when you're
sure.
pushing it to 50, 100, 200 different editors or like just random people who are posting it on random different accounts, growing different accounts to X amount of views. And if you take 5 minutes out of this podcast, say, and you had to take it out for legal reasons or something, and they've already
Mm,
posted it,
yeah, yeah.
you have no rights and you have no say in even taking that down.
Which is a nightmare. Yeah.
So, and it could have gone viral, 5 million, 100 million views. Like, you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I think there is problems with it in that sense. But I think if you're doing it for a personal brand, like, for example, like you look at someone like Breast Scales, like
Yeah. Breast scales. Yeah. Yeah.
insane,
Sick.
and he's done it insane. He knows what he's doing. Like, he's not done it out of just
Yeah.
random. He
Yeah.
knows what he's
It's
doing.
strategic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
So he's done that to completely scale his offer on
Mm,
the back end of it. And then obviously he's then getting people into his offer, and then obviously the marketing agency itself with the paid ads and things like that. Because at the end of the day, all he does is just run a like glorified paid ads
yeah.
business.
Yeah. Definitely. I think a big part of it as well is, I see a lot of entrepreneurs, they get this wrong when they are creating their offers, when they are building their content machine, as it were. I see it all the time. They're talking to too much of a generalist audience and they're marketing to everybody. It's not a product, you're just speaking to an individual.
Yeah.
If you can really target your ICP, I mean, like, even a best piece of advice I've been given recently is stop starting your YouTube videos with "Hey guys," because it's not "Hey guys," is it? You're better off saying like "What's up, G?" Like, you're
Mm.
talking to your friend. Act as if the person across the screen is your mate. It's going to perform a lot better. In terms of like the psychology of clipping up like a viral clip, you obviously have to understand that. Um, how important do you think it is to learn psychology?
I think it's vital because at the end of the day, if you can catch the viewer's attention emotionally, like
Mm,
straight off the bat, they're going to watch the rest of the video. They
definitely,
need to watch it
100%.
because you need to understand there's a storyline to a clip as well.
Mm,
Like for example, with our clips, we may take 10 seconds from within a 1 minute clip, put it at the start, and then go into the clip again.
yeah,
Because that is going to be the best part of the hook. And most people will just clip. They're not going to put a hook at the start. They'll just put it at the start of where it starts and then go into it and expect them to watch to where the most important part is.
yeah,
But if you start with that, then you go into the storyline and then get to the most important part and then
yeah,
the payoff at the end. That's where it's like, that's the viral video. That's what's going to go viral. That's what we know works. And I can get 20 clips from a podcast, 30, 40, whatever it is. But there's like a few really, really good ones that I know are going to
that
pop.
are going to do well, yeah,
Or like carousels. If we do carousels, I know like if I put this or two sentences. So if we do like a split screen carousel, I know if I put these two sentences on the top or the bottom, I know, okay, that's going to pop on the first slide. And then it gives the explanation, the payoff
explanation, yeah.
towards the end. So yeah, it's just about understanding that the psychology behind it of what's going to catch someone's attention and then the information on the back end of it.
Definitely. I think for me as well, I've realized that in my entrepreneurship journey myself, learning the side of psychology has played a huge benefit of where I am today.
Mm,
And I think what is seriously misled with people is that they want to learn the systems, they want to learn AI, they want to learn how to streamline every single bit of their business. But what they're missing is the key fundamentals of just become an attractive character. Dive into your brain as much as possible, learn pieces of information, move forward with that because that's what's going to help you the most. And then putting it out to the world, being creative. Now, I wanted to ask you about AI. How are you integrating that into your business? Where do you see it going? The future of influencers, everything.
So at the moment, I can't dive too deep into like
Too deep
what
into
I'm
it.
creating,
Yeah,
but I'm creating probably one of the best clipping AI softwares out there at the moment.
awesome.
From what I've seen work with the biggest, like we've worked with the biggest podcasts and creators around the world. So we're basically taking that every experiment, every test we've done, all the results we've gathered, all the viral videos, everything. So understanding hooks, the context of the videos, tonalities, like tone of voice, like even how loud they speak, things like this, and extracting that from all the videos, then putting it into the AI, and then creating something on the back end. I can't
Yeah,
speak
you
too
can't go
much,
too
but
much into it. Don't
um,
do don't give away too much sauce.
but yeah, it will be one of the like the best softwares out there for like podcasts and creators to use and really just put their long form in.
Yeah.
They'll grab their long form, put it in, and then it's going to give them a load of content. So
Awesome, bro. No, it's super cool.
yeah,
I think the evolution of AI, as I get to understand it a lot better, I think we're gonna see a lot more AI influencers
mm,
in that aspect. But I also feel like it's just such a great opportunity to even get scripts right because yeah, as a person, right, we're always trying to be creative, and I think the thing with AI, it's not gonna take away the creative element. If anything, it's gonna enhance it in entrepreneurs. And I think what you've done is so fantastic because you've seen the opportunity. It's the same with the thing with the gold rush, right?
mm,
When 300,000 people left the Western world to go find gold, the people that started the banks, they weren't the ones that went and found the gold. They just started the banks so people could hold their gold there,
yeah.
right? It's no different in a way because it's like you've seen the opportunity in the attention economy and you're grabbing a hold of a big piece of the market. And that's all it really takes to make the money that you want eventually. So I think it's super cool and it's a nice niche to get into as well
I
because
think people are just scared to take the risk on it. That's the problem. Like people are
yeah,
scared to go out there, take the risk on a business idea they have, an AI idea, like they think of something and then they're like, oh, it's too hard to start. Like I can't get started. And I was speaking to a few people this weekend. I was like, just start. Like,
mm. What is that identity shift in your mind though? Like what was it for you where you went, now's the right time, or I just know I'm destined for more? What was it?
I mean, since like I can't lie, since I was like born,
Yeah.
like even like we both watched Yusuf Devar last night. Like
Yeah, it was awesome.
you
Yeah.
see Yusuf walk out, like how he's just cold,
So cold,
bro.
like really cold, bro.
Like I was staring at like that, and that's like my personality, like what I want to live up to, like those kind of standards.
I respect that. Yeah.
And like I was, I almost not envious because I hate that, but it's also like that is what I want, and like I never settle for like less than what I actually want. So
Definitely. Yeah.
there's some huge goals like I have in my life, and at the end of the day, I've achieved a huge amount. And someone close to me like always reminds you of that, and they're like, you need to understand like what you've achieved,
Mm.
and what you've accomplished. But like at the end of the day, you have to keep striving for more. Otherwise, you can't necessarily stay content with what you have. Otherwise, you just go like on a downward spiral for it as well.
I always say that when one mountain is climbed, another one has to be climbed.
Yeah.
You're always going to go down, you have to go back up again. I think always striving for that next thing. And I think that's also a big part of masculinity in a way, because it's like, as a guy, your purpose for me is everything.
Mm.
I think really diving into that is going to give you actual fulfillment. And I saw an amazing quote the other day from Shia LaBeouf, which was, if I can offer up my suffering for other people, my story, what I've gone through, I think that would make me more happy when I'm on my deathbed. I think that's a really good framework to look at because most of the time, I think there are so many people that are trying to grab stuff. And when you try and grab stuff, the universe, it pushes it away. When you keep on saying, I want, I want, I want, and saying, I'm just in my being, I am just becoming who I want to become. This is the big thing that with my coaching offer as well, is that when I take on clients, I understand their goals of where they want to be. But then we throw the goals out of the window and we just have your basic calendar there. So you are just becoming the person that you want to become every single day. So I guess another question I've got for you is, what does freedom look like for you now?
I think freedom for me is just allowing myself to chase my goals and like having an unlimited potential on what I can do.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, we go back to what we were just speaking about there, and there was something like I had a conversation with Ashley Kane this weekend. Like first time I met him, nicest guy ever. Like
Yeah.
honestly, such a down to earth guy. And he was saying to me like because basically we're at a brand dinner. Like a brand's invited us this weekend to go watch Usyk to bar fight. Brooks running, and we were at the hotel and like everyone's over there talking. I'm there sitting on my laptop.
Yeah.
And then he comes over to me, like randomly just comes over to me and starts speaking to me. He's like, no, like I love what you're doing, like keep grinding. We'll speak about at dinner, like potentially working together with things, because they were telling me how good your business is.
Mm.
And then he was speaking to me over the course of the weekend. And then we spoke yesterday just before the fight, and he was like what you're doing at your age is like insane. A lot of people, well, 99% of the people aren't doing it.
Mm.
And that's just me working. Like it's an easy thing to do. But
Yeah.
most people don't realize that it's that like
You can't comprehend it in your own way as well because it just feels natural to
yeah.
you.
And I said to him, like at the end of the day, I'm not at his stage in life where he's got 2.2 million followers. He's been able to create this
Mm.
entertainment background of things and be at this successful level. And the stage of my life right now is grinding.
Mm.
Like it is the next 4 or 5 years. It's putting my head down and getting to work and becoming the most successful version of myself and building out systems where I can step away from the business if I want to.
Mm.
Not that I would, but I'll still be working every day. But if I want to, I can step away for 2, 3 months and it still runs itself and grows every day.
Yeah.
Um, and I was speaking to him about this, and he's like, "Yeah, you need to like understand like you're doing well. Just like keep going with it, and you're working very hard with it." And I can see that. And I think there's something between like not I wouldn't say successful because I don't class myself as successful,
Mm.
but I
Well,
would
I think you're successful.
no, I don't class myself as successful, but I think between very driven individuals, like
Yeah.
you see it in their eyes and like you see it in just the way they walk, the way they speak, um, you can see that in each other.
Yeah.
And I think when you just notice someone in the room same as you, like you relate to them very much.
It's an energy exchange,
Yeah.
right? And I think a serious thing that people actually forget is that we're all connected in a way. You know, they try and sell you this at school as well, is that, you know, there's no creator, there's nothing that you can create. They try and strip the creativity away from you as much as possible, because I think when humans are most optimized is when we are being creative and we're diving into, you know, our, not just our passions but also what we want to give out to the world, you know. And it's difficult to create because, you know, you're going to get feedback, you're going to get judgment. You have to stay really rooted in who you are and just keep on moving forward with that. I want to dive into, we spoke about earlier about your mentor, and just with Ashley Kane as well, having that network is so important.
Mm.
What would you say has been your biggest lesson with being able to network with people?
Everyone says it is your network is your network.
Network is your network,
Like,
definitely.
and it's true.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, it's
some
true.
of my clients are on the Forbes list, doing 50, 100 million revenue
Insane.
a year with actual business, not
Mm,
doing uh crypto like
mm.
OF things like this. Like it's actual businesses they can sell for hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Um and I think the biggest thing of learning from those people is like just conversations. Like
Mm,
you have conversations with these people and they have such complete backdoor ideas that you don't even know,
mm.
like the way they think about things, the way they set up systems, the way like even this year my return on money, someone questioned me like, why are you spending money on that?
Yeah.
Why are you not spending money on that? Like why are you not paying to get your food made? Why are you cooking every single thing? Why are you walking everywhere? Like
Mm,
that's what I used to do, because I used to be like, oh, I need all the money, I need to save it all.
yeah.
But then I was like, what am I actually doing? Like I'm paying £10 for all the ingredients to cook a meal, to waste an hour, not waste, sometimes it's nice to cook, but like to cook an hour of my time when I could be paying like
Definitely.
food to get it delivered quick in my time. Like things like that you don't even understand until you speak to high level people that are in a higher position than you.
Mm, mm.
Um and I'm fortunate in a position where I can now speak about things like that to like people my age or a bit older and give them some advice at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, definitely.
But you always have to be uh the smart, like the dumbest person in the room that you're in. Like,
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a big part of it, right? Because it's being able to not have any arrogance within your being of, okay, cool, I know everything.
Yeah.
This is the exact business model that's going to make me my millions. Instead, enter these rooms and just be an open book.
Yeah.
Just soak up the information, listen to people, what they've got to say. Give your 2 cents as well, because I feel like a big part of networking is it is difficult to network without a value to give
Yeah.
yourself.
That's a big thing.
So build yourself into that attractive character where you've got value to give. It doesn't have to be so much value, but it has to be enough that they can get something away from the interaction. Because I mean, the cold harsh truth is the world is pretty conditional when you really strip it away, if
You
you're
have to
being really truthful about it.
you have to give yourself a story at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah,
for example, like with my story, there's so many different things I've done,
yeah,
and
it's
I'm not
crazy.
necessarily saying it's good in the sense that like I've done all these different things, but if you can build yourself a story as well, when you go into these conversations, you have a confidence and a persona about you that you like, you know who you are as a person,
Yeah,
like you,
that's a big part of it.
yeah, you know that you're successful in your own right. It doesn't have to be successful to them, but in your own right, you're confident in who you are,
Mm.
and that's something I've really leaned into over the past kind of 12 months. Is that like, fuck, I've done loads.
Yeah, you've done
I've done
loads, mate.
so many different things.
Yeah.
And like for being just turned 20, like even being 19 and having done all these different things. And I asked ChatGPT, I was like, what percentage am I in? And then it was like 0.01%. I was
Crazy.
because I don't even think about that.
Yeah.
Like, I just think I'm a normal 20
I
year
think that's the mindset dynamic of an entrepreneur, though. It's always and just hyper successful people. It's kind of that thing of you always feel like you could be working harder, and even when you are working hard, it still feels like you could just do a little bit more, and you're never going to be that satisfied. But that's what's going to push you to be the person that you want to be, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, what kind of roadblocks do you think you've faced recently that has given you the most lessons that you'll take into the rest of the year?
I think uh probably trusting the wrong people as well.
Really? Okay.
Like sometimes, and I was gonna say, I think authenticity is good when you go into conversations with, like, for example, high net worth people, or like networking is good. You're being authentic is very good,
Mm,
but also understanding like where the line lays, like
yeah, definitely.
not opening yourself up too much in the sense that you're gonna like someone is able to use that against you.
Yeah,
And
100%.
I'm not all like I'm not for like revenge or anything like.
Nah,
I couldn't care less.
success is revenge, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I could not care less. My story speaks for itself and what I've been able to achieve. Like I just let that speak. But
Mm,
when it comes to, for example, like people will take advantage of you if you
mm,
give them a reason to.
yeah.
And if you give them access to everything and you speak about everything privately, like openly, like I don't speak about my relationships, I don't speak about family, I don't speak about money necessarily on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like I keep it a lot very private.
Keep it private.
And it's something I've learned over the past 12 months is that like if you open it up, if you open up how much money you make, if you open it up like relationships, like there's always something that's going to go wrong with it. Like people asking for money,
Mm.
like you get an outside view of your relationship, and then it starts creating like
It
things
is
like
a
that.
weird, it's a weird one because I think as you are creating this life of pleasure and you're getting a lot for it for your hard work, you are going to get people come back into your life, try and take advantage of you. You never know who it's going to be either, but you do have to have pattern recognition of when things are going to happen. And for me, I feel like that's a big skill set that I have is spotting the patterns, because I think the entrepreneurial essence in a way is a case of you're breaking away from the usual system as it is. You understand what it is, and you're not going to deviate away from that mission because somebody has an alternative opinion to yours, or um and I also think having just the just the emotional intelligence just to
Mm.
not let somebody in on what you want to achieve. That's what it
I
is.
think that's about looking back on like past experiences though. Like before
Yeah.
this year, like I met someone really close to me this year, and I never look back on my past experiences. Like before January, I never looked back. I'd say even March. Like I never looked back on anything I achieved,
Mm,
any like trauma I'd been through, anything that went wrong with me. Like I couldn't even remember my childhood until like this person actually started questioning me about it. Like, what did you do? Like, what happened? And like made me like they were telling me they're like, if you want to grow, you actually have to face that, and you have to understand what it taught you,
Yeah.
why the way you are today. Um, and I was like, yeah, you're right. And I actually started reflecting on that. And it's like over the past 7 months, I've grown insanely because I started growing from that. And I think that's, I don't know, maybe enough people don't do it or they do. But for me personally, like that was one of the biggest things I saw growth over the past 7 months is that
Mm.
I actually understood the way I am today, the way I react with like interact with people, the way I'm able to like tell how somebody feels about me. And like I've always been like that, but I never understood why.
Mm.
Of like I can sit here and I can know without people speaking, like just body language, like the
Yeah.
way people feel around me, the way they feel within themselves, like if they're sad, happy, like I just notice it in every aspect. Like
That is a mad skill set to have
it
as
can be
well.
someone across like the other side of the restaurant, and like I just know I can feel it,
You
which
can
is
feel
odd
it, yeah.
because for me, I've always like been the person that, like I don't really speak about like emotions and things like that,
Mm.
but it's like that's been something that I always understood.
I think it's interesting as well because one question that I always ask people is, did you grow up in a competitive household or not? Because it tells a lot about how you operate today. And the reason why I always say that is because if your parents were really competitive, you could either have two sides of things. You could either have that competitive spirit yourself, or you can have like this huge amount of anxiety that you always have to perform. On the flip side, if your parents weren't particularly competitive, you just might not be a very competitive individual. And in the modern world, that is no good. I think what's interesting as well, like really diving into psychology, in the Western world, I saw something the other day where you should be raising your kids to be able to network.
Mm,
In other countries, for example, let's use Usyk as a great example. He could have been brought up in a situation where they may not have been that bad economically, but there was danger. So they get taught how to fight. In other cases, you could be raised in a place where economically um, they're they're really bad, but they're also safe. They're going to be taught more how to make money. They're going to go to the markets and sell stuff.
mm.
So I think it's really important to understand that when you're building your life,
Yeah.
because we're on a podcast right now in the Western world. Build your network. It's so important. If you have these people around you, you're creating that community. You're creating that army to move forward. Um,
No, I think you're right. Like, I don't know what type of household you have grown up
Very
with.
competitive.
Yeah, like
Like
we
my mum's incredibly competitive,
yeah. So like for
and my dad,
me,
by the way, if you're watching.
for me, I don't. I've always been like my dad's entrepreneur. Like he has his own business.
Nice.
Not like insane like $1 billion companies, except like I'm not
Yeah.
like a net trust fund kid.
Yeah.
um like but he started his own business like travel agency and then travel software and things like that. And for me, like always seeing that, it always gave me the opportunity to think I can do my own business. Like it's not something foreign. When people grow up in a household that's like their parents are in 9 to 5s or they're in that, then it's like that's all they know.
Yeah.
um, and I think anyone can break out of that 100%. Like there's so much access to YouTube, like mentorships, courses, everything now that they can. There's no reason they can't. But I think it's a determining factor of like where they initially start. And for me, I started selling hats in school.
Nice.
Like
I sold sweets.
yeah, I
There you go.
started like I made these basically. I'd get custom orders from kids in school, and I started selling hats where they would say they want this custom order. So like there
Awesome.
was one there was one I originally copyrighted. I didn't realize at the time what copyright was. I was like, I think I was 12, and these like uh schoolboys, they were, because we're a boarding school. I didn't board, but they were boarders and they were from the country, and they wanted
Yeah.
this RM Williams, which is like a
Right.
one of the top brands in Australia for like the Outback people,
Yeah.
and they wanted this logo on the hat, and I went and got it printed, and the printer's like, no, you can't sell this. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm just getting it made for myself.
Just for a mate.
And I just sold it. And I didn't understand what copyright was, but like that was the start of it. And
Yeah.
then like my mum always reminds me of the story of like there was a bike outside my house that was like completely broken. I just got it, put it on Facebook, and I sold it for like 50 quid.
Awesome. Yeah.
But
Super
like
cool.
it's just those types of things, they shift you into who you are as a person. If you don't necessarily grow up with that, you have to learn that yourself. Like you
Can I
have
ask
to.
you this question as well? Because I think that story is fantastic of you selling the hat, and that in itself, that's very entrepreneurial. You're going to get the logo, you're understanding what people's needs are, you're supplying with them with that need. How many other kids in your year were doing that? Selling
Um,
stuff? Because this is the thing for me, right? If I relate it to my story, I was the only one. And I really do. I got asked this question the other day is, do you think everyone could be an entrepreneur? And it's a real thing that I've tried to wrap my head around. And the standpoint I have is, I think everyone has the ability to break the chain of habits in their life to go into a new endeavor. But do I feel like everyone has the strength maybe to
no,
long it out? I don't
no.
think so.
I mean, 99.9% of the people that say they want my life don't want my life.
Yeah.
They do. I can guarantee that right now.
Same with Elon Musk. You
Yeah,
don't, bro. You don't
like
want to be putting rockets in
yeah,
space. Just relax.
but
Like,
like they don't want to be sitting there for 20 hours at a laptop and
yeah,
like their eyes are like starting to water because it's tired. like,
yeah,
like you're sitting there, you don't want to be like sitting there, and they don't want to be putting their stress like body through stress. But like going back to your question of the kids in school, I mean, for me, I was always like lone. Like I would sit there at lunch doing my homework so I could finish and do training afterwards. So I didn't necessarily like have loads of friends in school, so I didn't really know that. There was one kid in school that I remember. Um, he used to do a business on the side. I can't even remember what it was at the time. But that was like the only kid I ever remembered. But I think even the household that you grow up in as well, because I know we just spoke about this, but for example, I went to private school for a few years. Well, most of my years in Australia, not when I came here, but when I was in Australia, I went to private
mm,
school and their parents are wealthy.
yeah.
Their parents are wealthy, so they don't need to work.
They don't need to
Like,
have that engine inside of them. I actually think it's more negative to grow up like that
yeah.
because I think if you can have tough beginnings, but not too tough, so you've got so much trauma, it's lighting that fire within you. Perfect. If you can have both and you can have a great upbringing and you can also have the real competitive edge, this is why I feel I'm really blessed because I was always brought up in a way where you have to fight for your stuff. And this is the same thing with the football environment. You have to fight for your place every day. We feel that pain, we feel that level of competitiveness that we've taken into our entrepreneurship. Um, but yeah, I think if you're born with everything, you need to quickly realize that. You need to understand it for what it is, and you need to go do some tough shit. You need to put yourself in a position where you're basically going into the world and, you know, today is going to be a very difficult thing. Pick a task, anything, make it difficult for
It
yourself.
relates back to the pain. Like,
Mm.
Alex Hormozia, like I love the guy. Like, fucking
Yeah,
great
same.
story,
I
such
love
a good
Alex.
story. But like one of his oldest podcast episodes was him talking about pain. I think it was on the Diary of a CEO, of him talking about pain in terms of what he like, what pushed him to change and what pushed him from like leaving his entire family to go and create these $100 million businesses, etc.
Mm.
And it was like the pain that he almost just didn't want to live, and like that
Yeah,
just completely shifted his life and was like completely turned his life. He's like, I know that I want to live, but like, what do I want to do and what is actually going to fulfill me? And then he went and chased that. And I think if you have something strong enough that deeply is paining you, it will force you to change and it will force you to become a complete new version of yourself. And
yeah,
like, if we go back to, for example, the household you grow up in, like I didn't grow up in households that were investing in real estate,
mm.
investing in like S&P 500. I used to watch, like, bro, I used to sit there at 12 years old watching Graham Stephan investing videos in the
Yeah,
S&P 500, watching him do real estate. And then now I'm doing that myself.
yeah,
Like, no one in my family has ever done that. Like, I would always speak to them about it and they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But no one in my family ever did that. And
mm.
then now that I've made money, I can do that myself. And like, I'm closing my first um, real estate deal this year, and then a few more. But like, I don't speak about it because it's like, again, we go back to the when you speak about things private,
Yeah.
like
Keep
openly.
private. That's what it's your story. It's what you hold to your own.
Yeah,
I think Jack Harlow says it best is if you give an inch, they'll take a mile.
yeah,
I don't need to show you my personal relationships. I don't need to show you the inside of my room. I don't need to show you everything that I do day to day. It's private to me. Um, and you know, I don't expect anybody else to show me what they're doing every single day. To be quite frank, I'm not that interested.
yeah,
And it's the same thing with social media now. It's, you know, there's so much comparison out there with people living these amazing lives and posting like girls comparing themselves all the time. And it's really just a societal mechanism that they've put into into your face. They've marketed it in a certain way, so you buy it,
yeah.
so you watch it. And I think you need to understand it for what it is, and whatever you consume is who you are. And I even saw Luke Belmar talk about this. There's a direct correlation to the health of your teeth,
Mm,
to your mindset. If you've got some sort of imbalance in your body, understand it, then get healthy. You know, I think back to the networking thing of high net worth individuals. I see the three things that really that they focus on the most is how can I create more time to do fun shit? How can I have privacy? Okay, that's always a big one. That's why they've got big gates outside their house. And the other one is health,
mm.
because without health, you have nothing. You can have all the money in the world, you can get to 50 years old, but if you're on your deathbed, what's the point?
I think even you lean into the privacy one, like, and that's why I lean into it so heavily. Is like the reason they lean into privacy is that like they know having not having those big gates, not having the privacy to their business, not having and like having everything out to the world,
Mm.
it's there for the taking.
It's there
People
for
are
the
going to take
taking.
it, and
Yeah.
they're not hoarding it. No, they're not trying to say you can't have it. All they're saying is that I've built this,
Mm.
and like if I'm speaking about everything openly, it goes back to what I said before. Like when you speak about things openly, people come for it.
Mm.
And like
Definitely.
Iman Gadzi talked about it. Like I think in one of his older YouTube videos, he was
Mm.
talking about like
Mm.
thing. It's like private victories. I think he has tattooed on him or
Yes.
something,
Yeah, I think he
and
does.
it's
Yeah.
such a true thing. It's like most of the things in my life that I've actually been most successful at, I've never spoke about
Mm.
and will
Definitely.
never speak about. From like relationships to whatever, it's like I never speak about it because it's so close to me, and I like. Why do I need to prove to myself to people I don't even know on social media
It's.
for the sake of it?
I also think another thing as well. If you look at everything on social media, really, from the clothes we wear to the way we show up, I think it is. You have to really dive into what you want. You know, if you create a life for yourself where every day is a play day within itself, you're living a life of freedom every single day because you're doing what you love. And also, you're making it look effortless because to you, it's just fun.
Yeah.
To other people, it looks really difficult. So, if you can do that, you're onto a winner. One question I have for you is do you actually think the average person understands how easy it is to win if they're just consistent?
I wouldn't say it's easy. I
Yeah.
would say it takes work,
Okay.
but I would say if you focus on something like for 6 to 12 months, you will see success in it.
You're going to see results,
Yeah, like
definitely.
how big those results differs from whatever niche or whatever thing you're doing. But
Mm,
I think it takes consistently like hard work. Like nothing. It depends what you're doing.
mm,
You could say like you could see results in crypto and because you invest like 10K and then you see results a week later and it's 30K. But if you're actually trying to build a reputable business that actually can like sell later on down the line, it takes consistent hard work.
definitely.
But I think most people don't understand that if you actually do focus on something for 6, 12 months, not post one piece of content one week and then post 10 the next week, post 10 the next week,
Yeah.
and then like drop off again and they don't stay consistent, that's when it's like, oh, I never saw results. Like I'm not trying again. No, you
Mm,
didn't do it right in the first place. So how can you expect to see results and see success? Like you have to consistently try something for 6 to 12 months and then you can say, okay, like I didn't see results. But if you did see results
mm.
and then you consistently iterate, you try new things, you experiment, and then you're like, okay, now this is what I'm doing. You try another 3, 6 months, you see more results, and you consistently compound that over a period of time.
Yeah, definitely.
You just stack the bricks every day and you will see the most successful version of yourself every day, like over a year, 2 year period.
I also think another thing as well, you could speed up that process by going to get somebody in that industry that's done it before you. And
Exactly.
this is the thing, I actually don't know many really successful entrepreneurs anymore who don't have mentors. In fact, I think all successful people that I know now have mentors. And it's really important because it's that access of information. And even diving into kind of like how you're brought up and when you do get chucked into the real world and you have to go make money for yourself, they have always controlled that access of information from the beginning of human time. Even when you go back to when the Bible was distributed, they distributed it in the wrong language because they knew that with that knowledge, people were going to go and they're going to think for themselves. So understand that as well. Understand that if you can think for yourself, you can be that sole thinker in your life. Like one question I always ask on my Calendly link before somebody books a call with me, are you the sole decision maker? I want to know. I don't care if your wife doesn't want you to invest in this. Do you want to invest in it? Because it's your life. I'm not interested in who's influencing you. I want to know if you want to do it
Mm.
because that's what it comes down to. It's you who's going to get you up every single morning. Nobody's going to drag you out of bed, right?
No.
It's impossible. Why would they? You're not going to do it for somebody else.
People don't understand that. They
Yeah.
think they think they can be reliant on other people making decisions for them, other people change their life for them, but the only person that's changing your life is you. Like, you have to understand that. Like, if you don't change your life, no one's coming to save you. Like, I filmed a YouTube video and I said, if you don't change your life, no one will, and the only person that wants you to be more successful than them is probably your dad.
Yeah. Or your
Like,
mum, dad,
yeah, mum, dad.
siblings, partner.
But even that, like, if it comes to like fight or flight, like they're in a fire,
Mm.
who's gonna save like them is most probably just your parents. Like,
Yeah.
most people will save themselves. So when you're in you're in 100K in debt, and your business is 100K in debt, your business partner's in 100K in debt.
Mm.
Is your business partner going to put you first? No,
No,
they're putting
definitely not.
themselves first to get
Yeah.
out of that, and you have to fight for yourself. So if you don't understand that now, and you don't understand if you fighting for yourself now, you could end up in that position with no one, like just you, but in a much worse position, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good outlook on it as well. It's, I think that Joe Rogan clip of him saying if you were in your movie um, every single day and the audience is screaming, the bit when you're in the cupboard and there's a ghost watching, whatever, and they're all screaming, get out, get out. If you can identify a bit in your life where you know it needs to improve, just go and focus on that task first. Go and focus on the thing that's actually going to move the needle. And I want to go back to like the distraction thing to really give everyone listening some source on it, because the moment you feel like you are being distracted within your life and you want to go and achieve big things, that is the most detrimental thing out of everything. And the reason why as well, and how the kind of operation, the mechanism works on how they do it, the machine I call it, is the actual element of the distraction is they're adding freedom into your life. So if you go back to even when the radio was created, people didn't really need to think for themselves that much because they had a machine doing it for them, right? Then you had that bridge of the gap where it's like, okay, cool. So we've now got everybody listening to the same radio station. That's still not good enough. We need to create freedom of choice. We need to create freedom of options so you can dive into different things. So you have different opinions and you go down this road and you go down that road, right? You have to be rooted within what you're doing so much to the point where you don't deviate away from that at all.
That's a big problem.
As soon as you have that mindset, there's nothing that can inflict what you do day to day.
It's a
'Cause
huge problem today, though.
yeah, definitely, you see both sides of it.
The grass is always greener today, though. Like,
Yeah,
everyone's seeing it. Like, you'll be running a like an e-commerce offer, and then you'll see Brez Scale pop up making hundreds of K a month doing
yeah,
freelance brownscape.
and
No,
your head goes down.
he's doing glorified paid ads. He's been working on it for 12 to 18 months, but you just don't see that. You're just seeing the success now.
Mm.
So most people don't understand that. And that's why I say, like, if you stick to something for 6 to 12 months and you actually realize that, like, you solely focus on it and you're dedicated every single day towards it, you'll see success. You just need to do that over a longer period. But like, I get that still. I still get like, oh, like, this person's making X amount a month. I need to do this business model. I need to be doing
Yeah.
this. Like, the grass is always green. You're always going to see some people doing better than you. Like Elon Musk, he's going to see people doing better than him still. Whether it's not necessarily
Human nature, right?
could not be in business, but it could be in health, fitness, lifestyle. Like, there's always going to be someone better than you in some aspect of your life.
Definitely.
So if you can understand that and think, okay, I'm just going to do the best I can every single day, focus on what I'm doing. Like, at the end of the day, you can create a business out of flipping knitting.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the
there's
beautiful
people
thing
making
about the attention
50K a
economy.
month from knitting courses.
Yeah, which is, I think it's great as well, because I think that education, you as a student, if you're a uni listening to this, I think you should look at it and you think, where is the future going? How can I position myself in the best place possible to leverage these situations? And where, like, our kids in however long, they're going to have to grow up with AI. It's just the nature of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can either learn it now, or you can just completely neglect it and be so far behind that you can never catch up. And life is a race. Life is going to change. It's a pendulum. It's going to swing. Um, and they'll always, if you don't leverage it, the powers that be will.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people won't take action as well. Like, most people aren't there to take action. They're there to wait for someone to tell them to take action.
Yeah.
I think that's been one of the biggest driving factors in my life, is like, I've always put a goal of like, okay, I finished football. I've always wanted to do ultra marathons. I've seen David Goggins do ultra marathons. Let's just go run a marathon at 3 a.m. in the morning. That was one of my viral videos. I ran a marathon at 3 a.m. in the morning,
Mm.
did it in 3 hours 15, went viral. Oh no, you didn't do this. This is fake. No, I did it. But just because I said I would to myself, and I actually just took action.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 months now to become the youngest person in the UK to run under 11 hours, 103 kilometers. I set that target. I set it to the world as well. When you say something to the world, or you say something to your friends, family, I wouldn't even say friends and family. If you say something
Mm.
publicly to like everyone, you then have that accountability factor to then, okay, I have to achieve that. Like
Yeah.
intrinsically, I have to achieve that. And there was points in that race where I got to it and I was like 60K in, the worst weather I've ever ran in my life, that whole race. And I slipped over 60K in, completely on my side,
Oh.
fully covered in mud. Like, and I was like, why am I running 100K?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing?
You ask yourself those
My
questions.
bones are hurting me
Yeah.
as I'm running. I'm like, what am I doing? And then I was like, no, I've set what I wanted to do.
Mm.
Why am I stopping now? Like, there's a goal that I need to achieve. My friends, family are here. I have people that I've said I want to do this for, and like why I'm doing it, and it needs to be done. So I did that, complete the race. Next target, okay, Hyroxes. Next
Mm.
target, business.
Mm.
And I think if you can keep setting targets and like things you want to achieve, I'm not saying don't be grateful for what you have achieved already, but that is what will keep you kind of driven in success and like not just stagnant in one kind of stage of your life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's interesting as well because, you know, I think it's human nature to never really look at what you've achieved in your life and be so like amused by it, because I think it's just a case of I can't really boil it down like to too much psychology of, other than the fact that there's more to do. There's
Mm.
another day to
Or you're
live.
living in it.
You're living in it.
Yeah.
It's you've got something else to do the next day.
Well, everyone was like to me this weekend, "Oh my God, like you're so mature for your age. You're doing so well for your..." But I'm just sitting there like, there's people making flipping 300K, 500K a
Yeah.
month my age.
Who are you? Yeah, that's another thing as well. Who are you actually comparing yourself to?
I don't necessarily compare myself to. I'm more like, for example, we spoke about Usyk at the start. Like, I'm like, no, I need that. Like that is
Yeah.
like, it's weird. I don't see myself as like a comparison to someone. I just see it as like, it almost drives me, and
Mm.
it's such a weird feeling.
It's great, bro, though. It's really
Yeah,
good.
it's a weird feeling. So like you look at Iman Gadzhi, I'm like, I know I will have that. Like
Yeah.
I
That's what I think
and
as well.
it's not like, it's not even like a oh, I could have. It's like no, I know
Like, no,
I know I'm gonna have
yeah.
that. And it's like I live the lifestyle I do now, um, in something that is gonna lead me towards that as well. Like I don't buy cars, flashy watches,
Mm.
like I don't go out and do all these things. Like I just wear black clothes
Mm.
because I couldn't care less about that. Like,
Also, I think another thing as well, it can be really difficult for any entrepreneur listening to this when you know you're going to get somewhere, when you know you're going to have these things, but time hasn't caught up yet.
delayed gratification. Yeah.
Delayed gratification is very important, because it's like as long as you can s- stay enjoying life, enjoy every single day, and enjoy the sunshine through the car, everything. Um, Even driving here, I saw a woman. She jumps out of her flat, puts her headphones on. She's skipping, she's dancing. Everybody's looking at her. She doesn't care about outside opinions. She's just waking up. She's enjoying life. She's decided to be happy. And it really is as simple as that. Um, and for me, I think going more leaning into spirituality a little bit, it's starting from the word essentially. How God created the world was through his words. It wasn't through making it with his hands, it was just the word. And really, the positive affirmations that you speak to yourself every single day: I am moving in the right direction, I am putting in good effort, I'm going to continue to do this. Then you're putting yourself in a perfect energy state to also attract more. Because here's the problem, right? If you wouldn't bet on yourself, why would the universe?
Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense, right? And however you operate day to day, how you interact with people, how you deal with certain scenarios, you know, is there somebody who needs your support? Can you give them your support when you have the time to give them your support? That's back to the Shia LaBeouf thing. You're offering up your suffering to help other people. Um, and I feel like if you don't do that, you get a kick in the teeth from life pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's about, I think it's about knowing who you are as a person as well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think if you know, like, if you know who you are, you know that value you can provide to other people, and you know that you don't need anything in return for it.
Mm.
Like, it's something, it's a hard contradiction as well, because you speak about like remaining everything private and like not letting people too close in that sense to take things, but it's also like I help any, like, there was a kid that came up, a fan came up to me in my apartment. He lived in the same building, he didn't realize, and he
It's
came
great.
he came into my my, like, I was working in the co-working space, and he's like, "Oh, wait, did you used to play football like X amount of years ago?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And he's like, "Oh, like, what's your top piece of advice?" And I sat there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, just having a conversation with him, trying to help him with like his business and things.
Mm.
And for that, it does nothing for me. Yeah, I waste a bit of time. I could have been working on my business, but like at the same time, who knows? Like that kid could have really needed that as well. Uh,
Definitely, and if you put yourself in that kid's position, which we've all been in,
yeah,
you'd want the same thing. And I think it's really important to do that, and it fills you up inside. It makes you feel good. Um, I want to talk to you a bit about personal branding.
mm.
How important is your personal brand?
It's key. Like I am always known now as the hard worker, and if you have something you're known for and you can stick to that day to day and grow on that and like be the person for that in the industry, um like for example, go to Eman, like he's known as like the James Bond of like
Mm,
entrepreneurship, like
that suave,
yeah,
English
yeah.
gentleman.
So if you have that and you can align yourself with that going forward, or
Mm.
like Daniel Dalen, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, Daniel
Yeah.
Dalen.
So
Yeah,
like his again is like the hard work, but he's also like the person who can speak three different languages,
it's
and
crazy, isn't it? When he sits down and does like
yeah, and he can just change
Chinese,
it.
is mad.
So you always have to have something different, a key differentiator to you, um, that's gonna make your personal brand go like that, and
Mm.
like people think, oh, that's interesting. Like I've never seen that before. Like I've never seen someone speak Chinese and Dutch and English before, who's then also living in Hong Kong. Like it's an interesting factor, and that's why he blew up. And you
Mm.
didn't really know, like no one really knows. Like if you know, you know about his
Mm.
businesses and things, but no one really knows what he does from an outside point of view.
Yeah, yeah.
They just
Still keeps it private.
yeah,
Yeah,
like we both probably know what he does,
yeah.
but most people don't. And that's a thing of like he's just shown the personal brand of what he wants to show.
Mm.
And that's why it's like, man, he has a side to him that he doesn't show, like the
Yeah,
funny, jokey side.
yeah.
He just shows the professional, like James Bond type side that people want to see and they buy into that. So it's just about how you position yourself as a key factor to that as well.
I also think you need to have a certain level of understanding of your teaching style to other people as
Mm,
well. If you are giving away value. Now, how I kind of shifted with my personal brand as well is that I think giving away value is really good. You can interpret that how you want to, whether it's just like what we're doing now, with mindset stuff. But I really think what it is, it's insight based content, which helps the viewer belief shift a lot more. And I think that is a more natural interaction with somebody watching your content as well, because just bring your personal side into it as much as possible, like your jokey self, and try not to be too serious with the camera. Now, I want to read you a quick statistic, and you'll like this. This is from Harvard Business School. There was a Harvard Business Review that showed that when a founder had a strong personal brand, their company attracted 2.5x more attention, engagement, and trust in the corporate pages.
we look at George Eaton.
There you go. So actually, I think now we're moving into a time where personal brand first, business page later.
Yeah, I agree.
Concentrate on your personal brand because people are buying into you, and then they're going to buy into the business after.
I mean, let's use George as a brand, like example. Like he didn't necessarily do like the behind the brand stuff,
Mm.
and until he did, bro, the brand went insane. People were at a Dubois fight in VIPs. Like
Yeah,
you've got NBA players walking through it in tunnel fits. Like the guy's insane now. He's globally well known, or the brand at least is. And
yeah.
people aren't buying into the brand. I
Mm.
guess the quality of the products are good. Don't get me wrong, it's a good price point, things like that. But they're buying to him, the lifestyle he does with the Hyroxes, the hybrid lifestyles, the athletes like Jake did, and all these different people that they now bring on board, and they create this one like aligned vision,
Mm.
and they will all have their own personal brands, who's then getting all their followers to then buy into their personal brands, who's getting them to buy into 247 represent.
Mm.
And people are buying into that, they buy into the people behind it. So you look at like Mark Zuckerberg, the way he's positioned himself
Mm.
now with the personal brand of
The
like,
surfboard.
yeah,
Everyone talks about it. It's crazy.
Mr. Beast, he's doing it as
Yeah.
well. Like he's done it now. He's gone like we've seen it with like the professional,
Yeah.
like the cool look.
Mm.
Like he's lent into that as well. Like he did I think it was a photo with Kai Cenat or something, where he did like the dressed out in like chains and like just
Yeah.
streetwear, which you've never seen him wear before. So he's lent into that. So if you can lean into that and realize that, okay, my personal brand is going to leverage everything else, and it's going to leverage the offer, and you need to have an offer on the back end. Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
creating
Yeah.
whether it's a physical product or an offer or service like a mentorship course, whatever. If you can leverage that and be like, okay, I'm building my personal brand, I have an offer on the back end, like 5K a month, 3 months, whatever.
Mm.
um and you can say, okay, now this is what I'm driving towards. I'm going to do 3 videos a week that are really like top of funnel, motivational,
Mm.
or like really just driving for views. And then you attract people with like the bottom of funnel content that's like, okay, this is like what I'm driving towards. I'm providing real value education
Mm.
behind, which is then leading to the offer. And then you lead them into the offer, and the offer is like
Mm.
you're obviously providing your service or your product. That's where it's like you're going to see growth.
Definitely. I think as long as the offer is a no-brainer, the product's really good, you can get people results. And I always lean into like the Amazon thing of like the reason why they're so good is because they get the product to you so quickly. And I think if you are selling a service, get people results reasonably quickly, but then maintain what you're giving them long term. So you can keep on growing, but they grow off the back end as well.
Mm.
And understanding where to position your content with your sales cycle, when they need to watch a certain piece of content. And I think the best piece of advice I've been given recently, and I'm incorporating into my personal brand, is how can you treat your content like a yo-yo in a way? How can somebody watch a piece of content and they're going back into something else where it acts as more of a sniper to kind of solve a pain or a problem within your lead magnet, let's say. Um, and it's less about just posting, keep it intentional, but just have belief shifting content. Because the problem is with just value content is you're not letting people into the vulnerable side of you, so they're unable to relate. But also off the back end as well, is that value content equals triers. And the problem is when somebody's not got a full perspective of what you're trying to tell them, they then go and try it, they fail at it, and it's not their fault that they failed at it. And then they come back and then watch the content, but then like subconsciously they remember that they failed, so they give up completely,
Mm.
right? And I always say this, you as the content maker haven't intentionally made them give up, but then they have given up.
Mm.
So go for the like try like value first,
I think it's
and then
providing like wow, not how as well.
wow, not how is perfect.
Like
Yeah.
that's Will Brown said it, and like he said, provide wow, not how,
Mm.
in one of his YouTube videos. And I was like, yeah, it's true. Like
Definitely.
if you're providing how as well, you also like reveal everything.
Mm.
And sometimes you can't reveal everything. It goes back to the privacy thing we spoke about previously and things like that. But if you're providing wow and people understand, oh, okay, like this is the results I can get, and then you can go, okay, this is the results you can get. Here's my offer, here's my service, here's my product. This is going to get you the results.
Mm.
Then they understand the how. And
Yeah,
it's like they
definitely.
get both. It's
Yeah.
not like you're hiding it and you say you're never going to know this. No, you get both. But you have to understand that it's a business.
Mm.
Like
Yeah, it's
you're
a business.
creating content is for the fun of it and just getting views. And you can do that, sure,
Mm.
but don't say 10 years down the line, oh, I didn't make any money. No, you chose not to.
Yeah. You didn't position yourself in the right place to do it.
Yeah.
And the problem is if you are making loads of content each day, to not monetize it is actually very foolish.
Yeah.
It can be quite stupid in a way. How do you think the media is impacting young people's decisions today?
I think they're pushing them towards a lifestyle and like creating a narrative that they don't like, that they can't have certain things in their life.
Mm.
Like now that I'm 20, I've realized like what you can actually accomplish and like the lifestyle you can have. And my mindset's been shifted towards like different things in life and like the freedom of life. Like people still don't understand that. And like
Mm.
the media pushes it that like you have to worry about like staying in a 9 to 5, like to pay your bills, your cost of living's rising.
Mm.
if you build your own business, and I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying like everyone can build their own business, and I'm not saying everyone's entrepreneurial, but all I'm saying is like you can have access to that if you want to.
Mm.
Everyone has access to it. Everyone can start their own business. Everyone, like,
If you live in the Western world, you have the tools. You have a phone, you have a
that's what
computer.
I'm
That's all you
saying.
need.
So then you can't necessarily complain about the cost of living, about all these bills, about the news pushing a certain agenda,
Mm.
because you have a reason to change that. Like you can change that if you like desire to, you know?
If you want to, yeah.
Like for me to worry about like the cost of living, cost of food, cost of thing. Now I don't worry about. Used to, I used to
Mm.
not even be able to afford a meal deal.
With the uni stuff as well, I think it's really interesting because when you were just saying about how they don't actually know what they want out of life,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's an interesting one as well because if you look at uni students that study business, I said to somebody the other day when I saw them, I said, "So you're at uni studying business. What business are you starting? What is the business that you're building right now?" "Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do yet." And I tell you what's even more detrimental as well. When I've seen people leave uni, go get a job, and then the person that didn't go to uni is also in the same job as them, I really do think at that point I'm like, kill. I would be really livid with that.
Well, one, because you wasted your time. Two, even in uni, you're learning from people who haven't done it.
Yeah,
Bro,
bro,
you're learning.
that's the main
You're
thing.
learning from people
Yeah,
who haven't done the business, who haven't built a business.
yeah.
They've read a textbook and they're teaching you how to teach something about business, but they
They've not
haven't
even
learned
done it.
about business. They
They have
haven't
no
built a bit.
proof. Yeah.
And like that's where it goes back, like because we weren't speaking about this before, is like my mum, I said to her and I was like, okay, why are these kids just going to uni? Like I don't understand it. They don't know what they want to do and they're just sitting there, and
Mm.
at the end of the day, I speak to them and they're just wasting 2 3 years of their life just to put something in place. Like it doesn't make sense if they
Yeah,
don't know what they want to do.
I think it is. The problem is with the whole uni dynamic, which I dislike, is that it's not so much I don't like uni and the way it kind of brings you up and makes you a bit older. I think there's two elements I don't like about it. I think the only way you know what you want out of the world is by going out and exploring the world. And that's also the only real like power you have to actually network with people as well. If you haven't got a good story to tell, you fucked pretty much. But I also think it kills your health as well because I think you go on these endless nights out and you indulge in things and you're kind of trying to play catch up with cooking your own food, and relationships play a huge factor as well. And um, there's this huge societal pressure on our generation that if you're not in a relationship, that you're not meant to be happy. If you're alone all the time working on your business, you're doing it wrong. And they put these little clever plays into TV shows. Don't even get me started on Love Island. Um, but these silly little things that you have in your mindset that have been marketed to you.
It's a
It's there.
narrative. No, but
It's
it is a narrative because, like, you
yeah.
speak about Love Island. Like, the two guys I met from Love Island this weekend, bro, they're the most down to earth, like,
Mm.
insanely nice people, in great personality, um, and like you don't see that through Love Island.
No.
Like people coming up to them before the fight, and they're like, oh, Shaq, like,
Yeah.
oh, Shaq from Love Island or Zach from Love Island, but they see this personality of them like being just players or whatever
Mm.
I didn't watch Love Island, so I don't know, or whatever they were on Love Island,
Yeah.
but like you actually have a deep conversation with them. They're like deep people who actually have things going on in their life. They're building their businesses. They're
Mm.
focusing on themselves. They're growing themselves. They have their relationships. Like they're not just TV stars. They're
I think what it is for me, it's not so much the whole dislike of the program.
no, but
It's
all I'm saying is it's a narrative.
it
Like it's a
yeah.
narrative that's being pushed, and it's the same in any, not even Love Island. Like it's the same in any other aspect of life, like social media, the news, anything. Like
Mm.
there's a narrative that will, or an agenda that will always be pushed,
Mm.
and people will believe it because they think it's real.
Well, I think the problem is as well is that's why they call it the news feed, is because they're feeding you the information. You don't have control, and I also think this is gonna have to like you're gonna have to really consider this with content moving forward into the future. Is are you actually are you going to be able to identify a real human being's opinion, or are you going to have like these AI dictatorships kind of really running society in a way with just pure like it can answer any question that you want?
To give you perspective, one of our podcast clients, we that's good at the end, yeah. We created a AI trailer for them.
Right.
And I couldn't even see the host of the podcast, couldn't see the difference between the tone of the voice, the face,
Mm,
that it was AI
mm.
compared to the actual one.
The only
I
thing
thought
that
it was real.
the only yeah, yeah, it looks so real now. I mean, the only real kind of if you want to position yourself in the right way is it's not going to take away your creativity, but it's also one of them ones where if it's so perfect, human beings, we are going to evolve and adapt to. We're survival creatures. We want to survive at the end of the day. I always say to people as well, what's the first thought that you have in the morning, your subconscious thought? And they go, what is it? And I go, well, you're trying to survive 24 hours. Not your actual thought, but your subconscious thought. Um, and I think because AI has such a pure everything is correct, the punctuation, there are no spelling gaps. People will be able to see it for what it is. So I actually think leaning into more of the authentic side of write it yourself. When I write emails, I spell two words wrong on purpose
Mm.
because they know it's me writing it. I'm also dyslexic as well, which
Yeah, same.
helps. But that's why I do it because I realized everyone's writing these perfect emails all the time. You can feel when somebody's not being real with you.
Or they just don't want to remove the hyphen from ChatGPT.
Yeah. I hate
They
them
can't even
hyphens as well.
make the effort for it.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, back to like kind of the society thing of how they're kind of pushing this narrative now. Um, being aware of it is going to get you 3, 4, 5 steps ahead, and being not aware of it is going to keep you in this trap of people that unable to break out because unless you're truthful with yourself and you're able to say this is what I need to improve on, this is why my life's not going right, and you don't blame any outside factors for it, you take full self accountability, then you'll become successful off the back of it. If you don't take self accountability, you're blaming other people for your scenario and you'll never make it.
No, I agree, 100%.
um, a real key piece of information that I've learned in my life is I want to understand who's trying to manipulate me to do certain things.
Everyone is at the
And
end
then
of the day.
if I can understand that, then it puts me in a place where I can then move forward because I'd much rather understand what the powers that be want me to do so I know not to do it.
Well, I mean, everyone has their own agenda. That's what I'm saying. When you can't trust people, this is what I mean by it. Is like everyone will have their own agenda of like they will put themselves first, their success first, and like you just have to understand how to play into that as well. Of
Mm.
like, for example, like you go back to Iman, he's pushing the narrative he wants to.
Yeah.
He's pushing the narrative, the James Bond, the Suave, because that's the money niche that he's in, and that's what sells. That's what pushes to consulting. That's what pushes to school. Like all these
Mm.
different things.
Mm.
What? Not school.
Yeah.
Wrong person.
What do you prefer, by the way? What or school?
To be honest, none of them. I don't
Really,
use it.
AFM.
Yeah.
I'm a school freak myself. I like school. I like WAP though. WAP was good as well.
No, but like everyone's gonna push a narrative. Like Hormozy, like you, as much as he down to earth,
Mm.
honest, provides so much value, he's pushing a narrative because he wants to sell his books,
Yeah,
and like he wants people to come to consulting or whatever his acquisition.com
acquisition.
to get them in there. And it's just understanding that everyone has their best interests at heart, but how can you
Yeah.
utilize that for yourself to get what you need and like go, okay, Iman's pushing this, but how can I take value from this?
Mm.
How can I put this and implement this into my life? To then go, okay, I actually will buy something from him and I will play into his narrative,
Mm.
but then I'm going to use it for myself as well to better myself. And then I'm going to play into this person's narrative. But because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
everything is a transaction. Like,
yeah, definitely. Everything's conditional to a degree,
yeah. So,
and well, you see it more now than ever.
yeah.
Going back to the girl thing. I mean, you know, this high value man thing of becoming that high value guy, getting the status, getting the money. I actually realize more now than ever that the old way of doing things of the protecting and the providing, it's pretty much out the window because women don't need protecting anymore. And in some cases, when women can provide for themselves,
Mm.
do they need that element? So they're looking for other things.
I
They're
think it's a
looking
sense
for
of security, if anything.
sense of security, but I also think it plays a huge factor in just having masculine traits
Yeah,
and being a good person
yeah,
gets you a very long way.
yeah.
Um, and
You do still need that like high status though.
yeah,
That
you
is
still need it. Yeah,
like
you still need it. You can't neglect. You
yeah.
need to cover every single angle
No,
as
100%.
best you can, and it's difficult. And I also think another thing as well when you're really learning these psychological things of women love in a different way, men love in a different way, we operate in a different way. As a guy, I see so many men, they get very upset about the harsh reality of how the world works. And I see it more than ever. Just if you're watching this, just watch the content, have the right mental clarity to go, this isn't actually about me. This is just how it works. And I'm going to play the game from just a game perspective. Treat it like life is a game. You're not in control of the how the dice rolls. You just need to roll the dice and
No,
keep
but
moving
you can
forward.
put the best odds in your favor to become the best version of yourself, to
Exactly. Yeah.
get in that high status, to like at the end of the day, like becoming the best version of yourself is the most powerful thing.
Yeah.
Like that is it.
Mm,
And that will affect everyone around you, your friends, family. Like you will be the best version of yourself for them, but
mm,
yourself as well. So if you can do that, then everything else like comes as a supplement to it.
definitely. I definitely agree with that. What's one belief that you hold now that your younger self would never understood?
I think that money is a game. It's not something to be afraid of like something to like put on a pedestal.
Mm,
Like it comes so easily if you allow it to.
yeah.
And like, if you put the right systems in place, if you put the right tools in place, right teams in place, and you focus and you dedicate yourself, like it's not something that's like so far away and you can't like grab. Like
Mm,
anyone can grab it if you put yourself into that. And like I
yeah.
said, I was watching Graham Stephan from a young age. Like that's why I'm also like really money focused, and like
Mm,
that's how my mind works, is because I was always investing, the real estate, the this, the that, because I never really had that as such growing up. Like I
yeah.
didn't have the access to the investing, the S&P 500, all these different things. Like it was always an obsession. I was always like to do.
Mm,
So now that I have it, I'm like, oh, it wasn't that far away. Like I can actually tap into those rooms now. I can invest in this company. I can invest in this real estate deal.
mm.
So I think understanding that would probably be the biggest lesson I'd say, is like don't put it on a pedestal,
Yeah, don't
and
put it on
don't
a
like
pedestal.
uh worry that it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I think obviously I think people do just overcomplicate business way too much. Boil it down to the simplistic side of things and back to the becoming the attractive character thing, it's going to play a huge factor in team building. And for me, I think the best CEOs are the best team builders because you are not going to be perfect in every single area of your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
It never works like that. You can be an 8 out of 10 in everything. You could be maybe a 10 out of 10 in one thing. The thing that you may be a 6 out of 10 in, maybe just delegate it. Find somebody who's going to do it better than you, and then you're off and away. You're building something good.
100%.
Um, Last question for you, bro. If you could send a message to every athlete considering business, what would it be?
I would say take the risk. Like
Mm,
start it whilst you're playing, or whatever sport you're doing, whatever. Like don't just stop and do business. Once you see some success with it, if you find it more fulfilling than what you're doing, or if you want to do it on side, that's fine. Like, but understand like where your attention
mm,
is what's going to see the most success. So if your attention was with sport and you love that, and you're an athlete, like, and that's what you want to focus on, by all means focus on it.
yeah,
But if you want to build a business, like understand the more attention you put to it, the more it's going to grow.
definitely.
Like that's just anything in life. So take the risk, use everything that you've learned from sport, from the driving factor, the consistency, the discipline, to the waking up early, to the getting there before the race starts, or the football match starts like 2 hours early, the training, the understanding that you don't just perform on game day if you've not trained. So you
Mm,
have to understand, okay, with business, you actually have to work long hours, and then you can perform on a product drop or a service once you've signed a client. Like
mm.
it's all the work that goes into it before you actually start is what's
I
key.
think most of winning happens before game day.
Yeah.
It's in them periods of isolation where you're on the track late at night, you're waking up. you get injured one game, you jump in the ice bath, it doesn't feel good, you do it all again, and then when game day comes around, you're so prepared that the work's been done. You just need to go put it out, and
That's my
that's the fun
favorite
bit.
book ever. Is Relentless by Tim Grover.
That's fantastic.
It's yeah.
Well, bro, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for jumping on Manners Maketh Man,
Thank you very much, bro. I appreciate it.
and all the best for the future.
Thank you.
Cool. That's a wrap. Bang.